Hello there, Jerome here. I've been asked to talk about veganism for a while now because I am vegan myself, as you may know. Almost a year ago I became vegan, and I became one after I watched a video of Vegan Gains. Now, not necessarily his video in itself turned me into wanting to become vegan. However, it did show a clip of Earthlings, a documentary that shows how animals are treated in the food industry, and I figured I was obliged to watch it because I want to know where my food comes from. As a nutritionist, I think that is very important. So it turned out that the idea that I had in my mind, even though it's very naive, was that animals were treated rather decent in these food industries and that they would just get a bullet to the head after they have lived a pretty decent life. Now, obviously that's not the case, especially not in factory farming, which is where most of the meat and dairy comes from these days. So after doing that, after watching that documentary, I did some research myself to see if it also made some sense health-wise and if it had some consequences for my health. Now, I've always been open to the idea of vegetarians, or of becoming a vegetarian, that is. However, I was always very opposed to vegans because I thought it was idiotic and that it didn't really make sense health-wise. So after watching the documentary, I did some research myself. Now, you may come to different conclusions than I did if you look at the vegan lifestyle and health. Personally, I think this comes because of two reasons. The first one is that very few research is actually done on the vegan diet or a plant-based diet, in contrary to omnivorous diets. And second of all, I don't think this is a very popular opinion. Vegan diets are not the standard, and therefore people dislike it because it's different from everything else. For example, it is estimated that only 0.3% of the Dutch population, which is where I live in the Netherlands, is vegan. So you can imagine that saying that the vegan lifestyle is the only right choice is going to stir up some things, and people are not going to like it. Now, I won't go into depth about the vegan diet or plant-based diet and the science behind it. However, this is a more personal video, which is why I also want to include a more personal anecdote. And one of that is that I haven't really felt extremely different after becoming vegan. However, I do feel very energetic and I feel very healthy as well. I don't have difficulties with my bowel anymore, and one of the more important things to me is that I used to have a lot of upcoming gastric acid. So gastric acid came up after a meal, and right now I've never had that since I became vegan. Now, there are a lot more reasons why I became vegan, or actually not why I became it, but why I think it is one of the better options, and one of them is saving a lot of water. So it takes a lot of water to produce just a little bit of meat, and you can look up how much it takes exactly. You can simply look that up on the internet, and then you will see how much water that you waste if you eat meat and dairy products to sustain the farm animals. And it is also very bad for the environment. So the way this works is that there are a lot of cows on this planet, pigs and other farm animals, factory farm animals actually, and they fart. Seriously, they fart, which is very bad for the greenhouse effect. You can look it up. Cows, or actually methane gas from cows and other animals which come from their farts and poop, actually causes a lot of greenhouse effects, even more so than public transport or transport in general, I believe. You can look this up easily on Google. I believe in equality, and not just in genders and races, stuff like that, but also in different species. So I think that animals have the same rights as us to live, because, well, rights are actually nonsense. It's something that human beings have made up, and therefore they think that they have only the right to live, whereas animals have the right as well, if you are speaking in terms of rights. I have always disliked the arrogance of human beings, thinking that they are the center of the universe, or at least of this planet, and think that they are the most important creatures that live here. Whereas we are actually the most wasteful people, the most wasteful creatures I should say, and we don't really contribute anything to this planet that is of worth. So, for example, if you take away ants or bees, then the entire ecosystem collapses, but if you take away us as human beings, the entire world will become better and better. The idea that if the majority says it, it is right, is very toxic in my opinion, and we shouldn't think that way. Instead, we should think for ourselves and if you look at how animals are treated, what it does to your health, as well as what it does for the environment to have an omnivorous diet, then I think that the only right decision, or at least my only right decision, is to have a plant-based diet, to have a vegan lifestyle. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more, and if you want to see more about veganism, the vegan lifestyle, diet, then let me know. I will see you next time.